Hi YouTube, I'm Adrian Papineau, and today I'd like to talk about the graphs that are shown in personal knowledge management systems and how they can be improved. Some of them work by making use of bidirectional links, which allow for a visual representation of your information to be displayed in a graph. Personal knowledge management systems are tools or programs such as Roam Research, Obsidian, or Chrome, and there are many more. The ultimate goal of these graphs are to help you find inspiration for things, understand concepts more thoroughly, and to make concepts more apparent that you may have not seen. In Roam Research, you can open the sidebar to see an isolated view of the page that you selected in a graph. So how does Roam determine how the graph is laid out? When a page is isolated, the pages above it are its parent pages, that is, the isolated page is inside of the page above it, and the pages below it are inside of the isolated page. Problem is, pages linked inside others aren't always an aggregation of the parent page, like the sidebar graph suggests it is. It depends on the person and how they write and link things. For me, I find that most pages seem to be aggregations, but they aren't always. As an example of an aggregation, we can create a page called house and link things that houses are made of, like bricks, doors, and windows. We can see now that the direction of the aggregation is from top to bottom, because doors is a part of house, but house isn't a part of doors. But if we were to create the page bricks first, and we were to link houses inside of it, then the direction would go the opposite way of the aggregation, because house is made of bricks and bricks isn't made of house. So really, the direction is inconsistent and unreliable. This means that the line segments of the graph should be treated as a general relationship and not as a defined relationship. There's a concept mapping program called CMap Tools that I really like. There's no note-taking element to it, unfortunately, but I really like the way it works. It uses what they call linking phrases to define a relationship between two things. To add a concept in CMap Tools, just double-click on an open space and write in a concept. Let's put dogs. It's unrelated to this, but we're going to go with it. Having a linking phrase is unfortunately mandatory. So if we were to say pets, and then these question marks would be here, so that way you put in a linking phrase, and you would say, our dogs are pets. You would think that having linking phrases being mandatory would cause issues, but it actually works out pretty well. I find that I use the same linking phrases over and over again, such as produces, it's related to, such as, and includes. I imagine that a system like this would integrate pretty well with Roam Research or Obsidian. This is Obsidian. It stores things locally and is a program rather than a web app. As you can probably tell, the graph view in Obsidian is much more advanced than Roam Research's is currently. There's a feature that I really like in it that's called depth. If you increase it, then it increases the amount of information that you see. And if you decrease it, then it narrows down the information to the isolated page that you selected. If you were to add linking phrases into programs like Roam Research or Obsidian, you don't have to add linking phrases to all of them. You could leave lines untouched like it currently is. And then that would just represent an undefined relationship. Using linking phrases would increase the logical resolution of your graph. One idea is to use double greater than or less than symbols surrounding the linking phrase somewhere in between both pages linked that you want to reference. Like this. The advantage of this is that it also specifies a direction for an arrow to be made on the graph. You can define a linking phrase and still make an arrowless line. To do this, one way might be to put the arrows in the opposite direction from each other. Because the direction of the graph isn't really a reliable way to show aggregation, you could add a symbol on the line to show that it is a part of another page. In UML, the symbol for aggregation is a diamond on the side of a parent segment. To define that it is an aggregation, the program could have a list of predefined key phrases that all mean aggregation, like part of, composed of, etc. If you write any of the keywords between pages, it could automatically show the symbol for it on the graph instead of saying it is a part of on the line to save space. And that's it. I personally would like to see linking phrases be incorporated into Obsidian or Rome someday. My programming skills aren't quite good enough to take on a project such as creating a plugin for Obsidian or a Chrome extension for Rome, especially since I only know Python right now. Speaking of which, there's this amazing plugin that someone made for Rome that I really like. It's called Rome Portal, and it has a graph view that's without a doubt better than Rome's actually is. Plus you can filter by date, which makes narrowing down your graph if you're looking for something much easier. If you have any comments about what you've seen in this video, feel free to comment below. And consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you.